Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Gonna be talking about this new HBO series, Velma. And I gotta be honest, I was not interested in talking about it. When it comes to Scooby-Doo, the last piece of Scooby-Doo, content that I really consumed was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. That was forever ago when I was a kid. And all the other stuff, the other movies, the live action movies, all new series, reboots and all that stuff, I didn't catch any of that. It just didn't really interest me. I grew out of it. Same thing happened with Pokemon to me. I was like, Pokemon's the best. And then pretty much past the Indigo and 151 Pokemon or whatever, I kind of stopped caring. So just to give you a little bit of context. So when this new Velma series came out, I was like, whatever, dude. It's obviously not for me in the first place. Why should I care? But seeing what everybody was saying and the waves, and every time I would go on Twitter, for example, people were complaining about the show. I'm like, is it really that bad? Which got me intrigued. So I'm going to break it down. But before we get into all that, this video is sponsored by Raycon. I've been partnered with Raycon for over 3 years now. They're my longest reigning sponsor, and it's for a good reason. I pretty much use them all the time when I wake up in the morning making my coffee, when I go to the gym to box, when I'm listening to a podcast in one ear and I'm programming some drums in the other ear. I'm always using Raycon's earbuds. Their everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever, and it's been really cool to see and hear the progression of the audio since I've been with them for 3 years. They have optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, and they feel extremely comfortable. And cool thing is, they will not budge. I listen to metal, I headbang, I do a lot of stuff. They've never fallen out once. Some of my favorite features is they have 3 customizable audio profiles. They have Pure, which I use for when I'm listening to podcasts. They have a Balance when I'm listening to metal, and they have a bass sound when I'm listening to hip hop and EDM. They offer 8 hours of playtime and 32 hours of battery life. You get quality audio at half the price of other premium brands. They have over 50,000 5-star reviews. But you've heard me praise them enough. It's time for you to pick up some everyday earbuds. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/SBG to get 50% off of your Raycon purchase. And thank you again, Raycon, for the ongoing support.
Supreme victory!
So I watched the 4 episodes that are available, and I gotta say, people are right that it is kind of trash, but at the same time, I feel like they're really exaggerating because, I mean, if you just look, like, there's this website where I watch a lot of stuff on, and they rate a lot of the content that's on there, and this was given a 1.1, and I'm like, bruh, like, there's no way. There's reality TV shows that are pure garbage that were rated higher than this. So I'm like, okay, this is people having to go out of their way to just trash this because there's no way it can be that bad. And yeah, I'm right about that. It isn't as bad, right, as people are making it out to be, but it is bad nonetheless, because the thing that's weird about this series is you got to ask the question, who is this for? Because at first I was thinking, oh, maybe they're just trying to reach a new audience. But then when you watch it, there's almost nothing but callbacks. There's almost nothing but nostalgia and references to who they are or who they were in other series and who their personalities have always been. So it's like, okay, obviously then it's to people who are fans of this. But people who are fans of this are outraged. They don't like the direction that they went in. There's the biggest problems that I've seen is, you know, there's the stereotypical people saying, oh, it's just a bunch of SJW tropes. People say it's woke now. That's the new terminology. It's woke. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. There's definitely a lot of those tropes in there. But then it's coupled with a lot of humor that negates that. And so it's kind of has this weird duality, because throughout the 4 episodes, I caught myself laughing like a handful, like laughing, where I was like, that was pretty funny. That was a good joke. And then there were other jokes that were just roll my eyes, or those type of like Ryan Johnson explainy jokes where it's like awkward and weird, and not awkward and weird in a dry humor way, but awkward and weird where it's like that joke didn't hit. It could have been executed way better. There was substance there, but it didn't land well. It actually reminds me of this one because Fred, and we'll talk about the characters, like Fred in there, he did something that was pretty funny. Right, like there was something that made him look like a Nazi, or made him look like Hitler.
Oh, now he looks like Hitler. He looks like Hitler.
Stop! No pictures, unless it's in portrait mode. Oh God, he looks like Hitler, and not just because we compare everyone to Hitler these days.
And it was pretty funny until the joke needed explaining by some bystander, and then it kind of killed it. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, it needs reworking. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the casting and just I kind of understand what they're trying to do. They're doing this origin story of Velma, and she wants to tell it from her point of view, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't care about that. Like, sure. But the way it's being executed, it is so all over the place, but I think it's by design. I'm assuming by the end of the season, there would probably be a lot more remnants of the characters that you're used to. For example, so Shaggy, or, you know, he's not Shaggy at all. He doesn't have that nickname. Maybe he will be given that nickname at a certain point. But he's just called by his regular name. I think his name Norville Rogers is his real name. They obviously made him black. I'm sure everybody have seen that. There's obviously the same people are mad about that. I don't particularly care about that. It's the fact that he's pointless because he's nothing like Shaggy. Now they keep picking at it, saying that like, oh, he would never do drugs. He hates drugs. Stuff, media and stuff that he makes, a lot of stoners enjoy, which he kind of hates that. And they keep doing these things that almost hint that he's probably gonna turn into a stoner. It's probably gonna happen. But since he doesn't have that stoner hippie mentality, he's completely like it. It's one of the things that like people, the most popular character technically is Scooby-Doo, technically, but it's really Shaggy. Shaggy is the most celebrated character in the Scooby-Doo universe. And so since you have this Shaggy that doesn't remind you of Shaggy in any way, shape, or form, then who cares about this guy, right? Because everybody else has these little remnants of who they are, like, you know, Daphne, stuck-up preppy chick, Fred, stuck-up preppy. They gave him a different arc, which I see some people complaining about it, but at the same time, I'm okay with his arc, and he's just a completely sheltered rich kid that doesn't know how to do anything, and he's been so sheltered that he has not even hit puberty, so he has like a tiny penis and all this stuff, which it's funny. His dad is hilarious because of how terrible of a person he is, and he loves how, like, if anything misogynistic or anything terrible happens to Fred in a way that's like toxic masculinity, his dad is so happy and proud. He's a funny character. His dad's a funny character. I like him, but like, there were some people that were mad. I saw screenshots being shared of like, oh, look what people are just instilling their ideology into Velma, and then make it a TV show. And I'm like, yes and then no, because I watched the show, and then there's so many jokes that are also like, oh, this is lowbrow humor stuff that I'd also laugh at. So, and that therein lies this, who is this for? Because there isn't enough of something that I would like to even want to watch this. And then I imagine for people who consider themselves progressive ideologues, people who consider themselves always on the right side of history, and they're very offended by a lot of shit, that they wouldn't like this show that much either, because it's not enough leaning in that direction. Maybe it is for some people, but I just have a feeling that there's some people that would be very disappointed that, like, oh, weird, it seems like you're pushing back against the patriarchy, but then at the same time, you're also making this character that's, you know, sexist or whatever seem kind of likable and redeemable, which there's a lot of people in that camp that feel like that's not a thing. Like, say, for example, someone like Andrew Tate, they would feel like Andrew Tate is never redeemable. And say how I felt about Andrew Tate before I knew about all of his crimes and stuff, when I thought he was purely a character, I liked him. This was like 4 years ago. When I first saw him on Your Mom's House podcast, I was like, this guy is so over the top and ridiculous. He's great because it's a character. And then I realized, oh no, he's not actually trying to play character and stuff. And there's people like this that would, even if he was just a character for the sake of argument, they would say that, like, this guy is just trash and I can't even see the irony or anything in it at all. He's not redeemable in any way, shape, or form. He's just damned. And yeah, so I just feel like, who's this for exactly? And then I think about this. So Gen Z, a lot of Gen Z are I think they're turning 18 or 18 now. They're adults. And so this is adult humor. There's a lot of gore and then the topics of sex and all this stuff. It's obviously for adults, and they even make a call into the show and say something like, oh, 420 means, I think it's a code for adults that still watch cartoons, because they know this is who it's targeting, adults, you know, probably young adults. And so I was finding maybe this is more for them. I know Gen Z humor is pretty weird. It reminds me a lot of YouTube poops or sentence mixing, or what do they call them now? Supercuts. People call them supercuts now. It reminds me of a lot of just random wackiness, so it's like maybe the duality of this show may appeal to them. I don't know, but just what I've seen is people really just trashing the show. Because at the end of the day, the people who are fans of Scooby-Doo, they want Scooby-Doo, and that's another thing. I saw a screenshot. Now, I don't know if I missed this, because I'm gonna be honest, I was somewhat editing too while I was watching. It didn't have my complete undivided attention, but I saw a screenshot. Somebody saying, "Oh, Scooby has been turned into a black girl." With it's not even Scooby-Doo anymore. It's just Scooby is now just a human in this universe. If that happened within these 4 episodes, I missed that. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm too lazy to research it. But if I find the screenshot or if I confirm it, I'll put it in this video right now. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that is true. That would be another thing where it's like, who is this for? Why would you do something like this? I don't know. But I also saw some misleading screenshots too, like say when people were showing a screenshot about what Velma was saying about Fred, and people not understanding the context of, like, literally in this show, in this universe, he has a tiny dick. It is like, it is almost a plot point. It's like a subplot within one of the episodes. And a lot of his motivation for how he behaves, and it hasn't been all that bad though. Like I said, I've watched, there's shows that, like, a 1.1 to me would probably be most reality television, something that would be like Big Bang Theory, which I would rate probably even lower, because in my opinion there are no jokes in that show. It's just, they're just saying stuff, and I'm not saying that to just be like a dickhead or to be facetious or anything like that, hyperbolic, whatever word you want to use. I genuinely mean that. I've given that show multiple chances. I've watched multiple clips. I saw it before I even had an opinion of the show. I was waiting for cell phone service in a store. I was in Arizona, and I was just watching, and I'm like, what? I don't understand what's happening, but you get my point. There's media, there's content out there that is so much worse than this, but it is so confusing that, like, I almost feel like I could be a writer and be like, guys, you guys gotta pick a direction to go with this. The right direction, in my opinion, would be to appease the fans, because nostalgia is powerful, and if you do things correctly, people will celebrate you. I think about, like, Deadpool. When the live action Deadpool movie happened, it was like a huge achievement because they did it correctly. They didn't do Deadpool dirty. They didn't do Wade Wilson dirty. And that's pretty much what people want. And they'll be very open-minded. So when they saw Velma, you know, there was people that are complaining, oh, Velma, look, she's Indian. Oh my God. Like, personally, I didn't really care about that. I think Velma being Indian is totally fine. It doesn't really change stuff about, like, because her being white or Indian doesn't, because it's also a very easy trope to place on an Indian woman or an Indian male just being a nerdy outcast, because I knew some of those people. Like I said, Shaggy is a very lame character in this universe to me right now. To me, I'm like, Shaggy's always reminded me of when I was in high school, there was this guy named, they called him Chronic Chris. You can guess why they did. And I was like, this is literally Shaggy. And this guy, and the funny thing was, this guy wasn't even trying. It wasn't like he saw, like, he grew up watching Scooby-Doo and he's like, I want to take on this identity. Those people out there exist. It's kind of like, if you watch The Simpsons, you see Ned Flanders. The reason why Ned Flanders is who he is, there's people out there that exist, that look like him. When I went to a church retreat when I was in 7th grade, my friend's church. They invited us. It was a Calvary Chapel, and the whitest church ever. We went to the mountains, and there was this guy named Jim, one of the counselors, looked exactly like Ned Flanders. And that guy didn't mess with The Simpsons. Glasses, bushy, flat, like the hair. I was just like, what the hell is happening? There's just, these tropes out there exist. It's like the nerdy, sweaty, bearded nerd with the ponytail. There's a lot of them, the comic book guy. Like, these people out here exist. And so, why not just have the stoner kid in school? And then him be Shaggy, or you can still call him Norville or whatever. Why not? Why purposely go against the grain to appease yourself? Did I hit the mark? Let me know what you think about this series. Is it as bad as everybody was saying? Did you find any good moments or any gems? Because I found some moments in there where I was laughing. I was like, that was pretty funny. You know, like, there are obviously some talented writers out there, but there's also, I feel like, some people, it could be like a you know, a George Lucas, Rian Johnson thing, where you have talented writers and you have somebody who's overseeing the project that's interjecting shit that shouldn't be in it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, listening. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.